guys, welcome back to Lexi's World Gaming, and I'm back with another video. And today we are going to be doing reacting to My Story Animated, and yeah, it is story time animated. I don't know why I said My Story Animated, and this one is my rich parents pretend to be poor.
Ross,
and don't mind the noise in the background. I have a TV on.
Ross, yes for less. What did I miss?
Okay.
Hi, I'm Stacy, and at 16 years old, I had everything a girl could ever dream of. Nice clothes, the newest phone, and even a luxury car. But it was never enough. I had formed an addiction to shopping. Every day I would walk past stores, and once I saw something I liked, I just had to have it. Luckily, my parents had well-paying jobs. My father was the head of a bank, and my mother was a famous surgeon. And so my addiction hardly made a dent in their bank accounts. Every day after school, I would ask them for money for food or the bus. But as they were always so busy with their jobs, they would just hand me their credit card instead. Even though I was a shopaholic, I could easily fund my addiction with my parents' credit cards. But all that changed when I met Jason. Before I go further, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. And you will be rich when you're older. Trust me, it really works. I went to a rich private school, and so all my friends also wore the trendiest clothing at the time. I was terrified of being behind on trends, and so every day after school, I would spend hours at the shopping mall.
Why would you be afraid of trends? Oh, what? It's just clothes.
Making sure I was always wearing fashionable clothes. One of my classmates, Jason, was the son of a world-renowned pilot and came to my school from France on an exchange program.
Wait, but if he was, I don't know, because wouldn't he be moving more?
He was the coolest person I had ever met. I would look forward to talking to him each day and listen to all the amazing stories he had. He would tell me about all the different countries he visited and all the amazing things he's done. I remember one day, he said to me that he really liked the way I dressed. It was the greatest compliment I had ever received. It felt so great to have the person I liked the most like my style, and I was set on keeping it that way. I would make note of what brands of clothing he would wear, and I would shop exclusively at those brands. Most of the brands he liked were based in France, and so I had to pay a lot of money to get them shipped over. Whenever he gave me a compliment or asked me about a shirt he liked, it made me feel amazing. I would spend more and more money each time just so I could impress him. It got to the point where I would spend $1,000 on an outfit and throw it out the next day if he didn't say he liked it. I would spend entire afternoons binge shopping with my parents' credit card, hoping that it would one day be enough for him to fall in love with me. This shopping spree lasted for about 6 months until my parents eventually caught on to what I was doing. They would ask me where all the money on their credit cards went, and I would make up lies like I had to buy some expensive textbooks for school, when really I was spending all their money to impress a boy I liked. Each day they grew increasingly suspicious. They stopped handing me their credit card as often, and I could no longer afford to keep up my shopping habits. Jason was everything to me, and I couldn't bear to wear out-of-date clothes in front of him. Back at school, Jason started complimenting me less and less. My out-of-date clothes weren't enough to get his attention. One day I asked him, "Hey, I pieced this outfit together yesterday. Do you like it?" I was desperate for some attention. "Yeah, it's all right, I guess," he replied. "It's a bit last season, don't you think?" That broke my heart. I've never felt so embarrassed. The weeks following that, Jason and I gradually grew apart, but that didn't mean I missed him any less. After Jason and I stopped talking, I became extremely angry, especially at my parents.
Why are you angry at your parents? Your parents are the one that gave you the money. Without them, you don't have any money.
I would yell and shout whenever they refused to spare me any money to impress him. A week later...
Really? You spend like $1,000 a day for everything, and you don't even keep the clothes at all. So what does your friend think?
I was complaining yet again to my parents that they weren't giving me enough when my dad sat me down. What he said made my jaw drop. "I'm sorry, sweetie." He sighed. "Your mother and I have been struggling at work. We're in a lot of debt, and we may be out of a job."
And great, another
When you travel
ad.
to the greater Birmingham area,
Sorry,
you'll see
guys.
we've been preparing for your visit by following CDC and state guidelines. With social distancing, wearing masks, and sanitizing, we're ready for you to take it all in responsibly.
Job soon. I didn't know what to think. In fact, I think you might have to move out of the house soon. We simply just can't afford to keep you here. And that was it. A week later, I had already left the house and was completely
That's what she deserves, because all the time she keeps spending their
on
money.
my own. I had no idea how hard the next months of my life would be. I had to sell all of my remaining possessions just to afford to live in a cramped apartment with roommates I hated. My room had torn walls and smelled absolutely horrible. One of my roommates, Jim, never showered, and so he constantly reeked. He also never cleaned up after himself. The floors were constantly dirty and the dishes were never washed unless I cleaned it up myself. My other roommates weren't any better. They always had people over, and so it was almost never quiet. I felt fortunate, however, as my parents said that because they were in mountains of debt, even after selling their cars and house, they still couldn't afford rent and were forced to live on the streets. I often worried about them late at night, especially because I had no contact with them as they couldn't
Really, or is it just because you don't have any money?
afford an internet
want
connection.
them to
I
get
couldn't
money.
bear to think of them out there, homeless and hungry. It brought me to tears just thinking about them. I couldn't forget Jason either. I missed talking to him.
Really, Jason is the whole reason why you're
It was
poor
horrible
now.
to think about how I would never be able to hear his voice again. After a couple of months or so of what was the worst time of my life, I managed to land a job as a waiter at a fancy restaurant. It felt great to have an income of my own for once, rather than rely on my parents' credit card for money. After several months of working hard, serving rich people that probably earned 100 times my salary, I was able to move out of that dump of an apartment and into a decent place that I didn't have to share with anyone. I was also able to start buying nice things for myself as well, like clothes and shoes. But my spending habits were nowhere near as out of proportion as 6 months prior. I began trying to find my parents
Oh
again.
my God,
I felt
this had an
terrible
ad
at
like
making
2
a
minutes
decent
ago. You guys could see that.
There, so long.
I hate ads.
So long, get it? Always falls for it. I know.
Give a gift that'll make them feel a little famous with buy one, get one half off. Famous for Brad.
an income while my parents were living on the streets. But no matter how hard I looked, I couldn't find them. I would walk down countless streets and alleys, calling their phones several times a day, but still no sign of them. One day at work, I was taking a short break after quite a busy morning. I was recollecting on all the great memories I shared with Jason. Each of his amazing stories I could recite off by heart. It was really saddening reflecting on all the time we spent together, because deep down, I knew that it was over. There was no way I could
Yeah, because he's a bad guy for you.
have gotten him back. My mind then wandered to my parents. They must
Okay, bye, guys. Okay, why did I say bye? Okay, guys, I'm sorry, but I have to post a part 2. I wanted to try and post this before my class starts, but it looks like I'm going to start running a little behind, so I'll just upload this video right now, and yeah, I'll have to post a part 2. Well, bye, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. See you next time.